And this is America's Mayor Live, again from Boca Raton, Florida, at the Newsmax studios. We were just on with Ed Henry in the show that precedes us on Newsmax and had a wonderful discussion with Ed. Uh, and tomorrow, I think we're going to be on with Bianca De La Garza, and we met her and said hello to her. Got a great operation here, Newsmax does. Ed and Bianca are out of here. And what else, Ted? What else do they have out of here? They got a couple of
We got a
others. What
lot
do
of
they
great
for you?
ones. Our friend Eric Bowling.
Oh, yeah. You know, I'm on Eric a lot. And I mean, these are the warriors for freedom. I mean, it's really amazing what they do. But I have so much respect for them. But I have to tell you, there was a throwback for me yesterday. I know I have a weakness. Some people have the Bible memorized. I wish I did. I love the Bible. I love the Psalms in particular. They help to calm me down when I read them. They really do. Even if they're extremely, strong ones or even militaristic ones, they calm me down. But Hunter showed up yesterday. It was all of 17 minutes. I to Well, I don't know why he showed up. I do a psychobabble on it but it was kind of absurd. He showed up. He sat in the audience. He got reamed out by Nancy Mace and everyone else because he won't testify. He wants to testify in public. He doesn't want to testify to deposition. Well, so did I, pretty boy. I wanted to do the same thing, but they wouldn't let me do it. I had to sit through a private deposition for a number of hours, and then they never used it. And I think they destroyed it because I kicked the living shit out of them. That's why. Because they're dumb and I'm smart. I'm honest and they lie. It all came out. Raskin actually walked out, the little creep. They never showed it. I knew they would never show it. I demanded originally, I want to be public. And then I decided, what the hell? I got nothing to hide. Let me show them that you can subpoena me all the time. And of course, I had to take the privilege where it was required. But the president was really good on that. I mean, because he has nothing to hide. I can tell you, people say, well, you must have some secrets. Yeah, right. Like when they would write, the mayor may cooperate against President Trump. Yeah, I'll cooperate against President. Tell you the truth, he's innocent. Great. Yeah, of course I'm going to cooperate. Of course I'm going to cooperate. You're the crooks, not me. You're the liars, not me. Every time we have a showdown, you lose and I win. Wow. So Hunter shows up, and this is what it looks like. See if this doesn't fit. I named them the Biden crime family in February of 2019. I put out my first crime family chart in March of 2019. They're a long time ago. So anybody wants to claim credit to Biden crime family, I should have copyrighted it. And I still have my original chart with all the creepy Bidens in it. But take a look at Hunter and his slimy lawyer, one of the slimiest of the Washington lawyers, and then Sugar Daddy. This is Sugar Daddy who's come up with about 4 or 5 million. Slimy lawyer on right, major criminal in the middle, and Sugar Daddy, who's got millions, doesn't look like a guy's got millions, who's got millions on the left. Now I want you to look at another picture in the Congress that this is very similar to. A little change in sex, but nowadays you can do that. There you go. That's Frankie Pentangeli's uh, uh, brother, brought over from Sicily by the head of the Corleone crime family, and that's of course the wife who is beginning to become disillusioned with her murdering husband, who now at this point has killed like half a city. And they bring the old man in because the old man believes in omerta, which is sacred to these crazy Sicilian mafia guys. And when too bad we can't show you the whole thing. When Frankie sees him, Frankie all of a sudden has a failure of recollection, like Fauci has when he, did you know about did you know about the experiments at the at in China? And he would say, China, China. Is it China? I don't know. I have no recollection. Well, were you getting any money from any of the pharmaceutical companies? I don't remember. I don't know. Maybe Fauci has an uncle over there or a cousin. But didn't that look terribly close, Ted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It certainly did.
Actually, I think there may be some that are better. We'll work on this. I promise you, every time we have
there's Hunter. Where's Hunter?
There's Hunter. The Biden mafia types right there. That's the representatives of the Biden crime family. And now there's the old crime family. Right there.
There's Michael.
Frankly, two of the three of them are actually better looking. Although, I mean, I think, look at that. There you go. So, so now there was a theory today that I have had for some time. I've had this theory for some time, and I want to make sure I don't plagiarize here. This writer in the New York Post is doing a psychobabble. I don't think he would feel bad if I said that. I think he would. I'll get you his name in a little while. I don't have it right here. But basically, the theory is he is beginning to think that Hunter psychologically wants to give up his father. You don't just leave your laptop.
Benjamin Weingarten.
Okay. Credit to Benjamin Weingarten. Now, I don't want to be like the creepy former president of Harvard who steals people's work. Benjamin, but I did think this a long time ago. It goes. Actually, I first thought it.
You've mentioned it on the show.
I mentioned it. Did I? I know I've mentioned it to you and Dr. Maria.
Yeah.
Well, the theory is that a lot of criminals want to get caught, and a lot of people want to sort of deal with their psychological anger this way, so that he's been leaving little crumbs to catch his father now for years, and that his appearance there yesterday was so utterly damaging to his father and maybe helpful to him in doing this stupid movie that he wants to do. But all this is going to, the right political strategy for the good of Joe Biden would be for Hunter to go on a long vacation. Just disappear and obviously show up for your court appearances and then disappear. Stay out of the news because it can't be helping him. There's nobody that's going to vote for Biden because of Hunter. A lot of people are going to ignore it. A lot of people are brainwashed and they're going to lie like hell, but Hunter's not helping him. And that performance yesterday is not going to help him. Second, he lost not just one hard drive. Please remember, he lost two others at or around the same time. You're like, here, you get a hard drive, you get a catch my old man. Then you remember this. I think this is the most damning single piece of evidence in the hard drive. This is a Christmas Day 2018 or 19. I don't remember. And this is to his daughter because there's a theory that the daughter and a couple of the others may be taking over the 30-year or some of the 30-year bagman role, which is what he uses his family for. Nice guy. And this is what he says. You know this. I can't get this covered the way it should be covered. To me, as an expert on RICO, that is the core of your RICO case right there. You don't get an explanation of the RICO enterprise that's any better than this in any case I've ever tried. Mafia, white collar, political corruption. This is Hunter to his daughter. I believe it's December 25th. I'm sorry, 2018 or 2019. And this is the time all this crap is coming down when he's doing all this crazy stuff. I love all of you, but I don't receive any respect. Sounds like Rodney Dangerfield, right? If you know who I'm talking about from Caddyshack. but I don't receive any respect. So now you see a guy's bitter, right? And that's fine, I guess. Works for you, apparently. Like it's okay. You don't mind if you get treated horribly like I do by the family. Hope you all can do what I did and pay for everything for this entire family for 30 years. It's really hard. But don't worry, unlike Pop, I won't make you give me half of your salary. What do you need? You're going to say, well, maybe that's not true. Maybe the testimony of any witness is not true. We don't just throw testimony out because it maybe is not. Maybe the testimony of the people who testified in my trials wasn't true. That's what the trial is for, to test the truth of that. When you say something like that, you got to explain it. You see that little thing there? That comes in evidence. Like that. I get it marked as an exhibit. I put it in evidence. Now you got to explain it, babe. So you're dead. You're kidding around about a bribe scheme for 30 years? Oh, gee. And then I have all these bank accounts where the money is moving. You got like 120 bank accounts. You got offshore accounts. I got a money transaction that they cover up. The Treasury Department has covered up for years. 3.4 million. Located by the Latvian government. Fits right into that scheme. You can't keep that piece of evidence out unless you got one of those DC judges who handle the J6 cases, or like the judge who handled my case, who wouldn't let me put in a defense, or anger moron who gives Trump 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes. And wouldn't give him a day off because his father-in-law died. Mother-in-law, sorry, that his mother-in-law died. Gee. I don't get it. So yesterday, Nancy Mace said something that only I would react to, and I want to call her up and find out if she's serious. Remember when she said we should put him in jail? I bet you have no idea they could. There's a power of the Congress, very ancient and rarely used. Last time was 1935. It's called inherent contempt. What it means is Congress can hold you in contempt without a court. If contempt happens in their presence, they can adjudge you in contempt. And they can put you in jail for the remainder of the congressional session term until they adjourn. You think I'm kidding? Then you work your way tonight through this opinion. Right there. I want you to note the date, 1821. Been reaffirmed many times, so it's what we call good law.
What year is this case from, Mayor?
Let me 1821.
Wow.
Their absolute control of their branch of government within their own walls carries with them the right to punish contempts committed in their presence. Right here. They've done it 10 times. Last time, 1835. Completely lawful. They have to hold a trial, of course, and it's not like the crooked judges in Colorado who just decide, oh, it's insurrection, even though there's no proof of insurrection. They would have to give him a trial. They'd have to let him explain why he's not complying with the subpoena. And then they decide if he is or he isn't. And if he isn't, they put him in jail. They put him in the custody of the Sergeant of Arms of the United States Congress. And I wonder if Nancy was referring to that, because that'd have been really, if they whisked him off and stuff. I wonder how Hunter would do in prison. I wonder. I really doubt the prisoners would clap for him like they clap for Trump and me. Well, we'll be back, and when we come back, we're going to have Dr. Maria with us, and she's going to bring up a subject that I believe, or she really believes, but I agree with her, just hasn't been getting enough attention, and it's Biden's fault mainly, but it's our fault too. We should spend more time on this. You'll see. You come right back. Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now.
And we're back.
Well, you take us back, Doctor.
Well, welcome back to America's Mayor Live. This is the Rudy Giuliani Show, and I am Dr. Maria, a frequent guest. We also have
Brilliant.
a hit radio show every Sunday, 10 a.m. Very easy to listen to at wabcradio.com.
And we invented it, Dr. Maria and I, right?
You did. Rudy was given a show early on in the pandemic, and he was looking for an expert about viruses and other things. So
Lucky.
he
You knew everything
had
about it.
me on as a guest. I don't think it was called Uncovering the Truth in the beginning. I think whatever the show was called is a precursor to Uncovering the
Yeah,
Truth.
and you were, and I'll just say this, 'cause I want you to get to the hostages. She is one of the first, if not the first, to pick up the whole thing with the laboratory, and that it was an engineered virus and it was a whole bunch of garbage that we were being fed, because she had been preparing for this for several months as a head of a hospital. She saw this coming and she bought all kinds of supplies. She helped supply most of New Hampshire. Now you should go to those people and tell them in return they have to vote for Trump. But they can't do that.
Well, I do want to correct that. After the 2010 pandemic with H1N1, because you never do it during a pandemic because everybody needs the same kind of PPE and equipment. But right after the 2010 pandemic, I stockpiled gowns, masks, IVs, stretchers,
Yeah, but everybody came
everything
to you.
like that. So initially, yes,
I
when the
remember.
supply chain, we just didn't have enough to
Yeah,
go
no,
around. I helped several area hospitals and
I thought it
clinics.
was like a little bug. And then, and the minute they started with that bat thing, people that the Chinese eat bats.
I want to talk about the hostages.
please.
This is a very serious subject. Just to quickly recap, early morning, October 7th of 2023, Hamas, evil Hamas, entered into a kibbutz in Israel and just began to slaughter everybody. They had missiles coming down and ground assault, not only on residential areas, but also military area. But it's estimated anywhere between 1,200 to 1,300 people were slaughtered. And I don't mean a quick bullet to the head. Some of those babies were castrated, beheaded. Women were raped so violently, they had fractures in their pelvis before they were murdered. Some had their breasts cut off. This was nothing but sheer brutality and savagery. Now, we haven't heard a lot about the hostages, and what distresses me is also the American hostages. I can't really find names or clearly identifying who of my American brethren is still held in enemy hands. Anywhere from 9 to 10, I'm not really sure.
On the screen right now, what is?
Now, that is some of the pictures of what we believe to still be hostages in our American hostages. Sage, and God forgive me for my pronunciation, Sage Dekel Chen, Ite Chen, Eden Alexander, Omer Nutra, Hirsch Goldberg Pollen, Chen Goldstein, and her 3 very young children, Agam, Gal, and Tal, and Keith Siegel. But we really don't know. And I don't believe the State Department really knows how many Americans are held in hostage. I also have a quick reel that I want Ted to pull up so you can see some of the Israeli hostages before and during their captivity. I can't imagine, especially young women, what they're going through. We do know there's been sexual assaults during captivity. We know from one of the freed young men, I believe 10 or 11, he was branded. He was put into a home of a Palestinian couple with children and mistreated. When he was first brought into a particular neighborhood, they all had a chance to hit him, beat him. He was burned with cigarettes. So those people who are still in captivity, I'm confident they're being tortured. They're being starved. They're without medication. We know that they didn't have a big tolerance for babies crying when Hamas had them under the hospital. Those children, one of the American little girls who was released, only spoke in whispers initially because,
Oh, she's the one who came back, and
yeah,
I don't know if she's talking now, but at the beginning she wasn't able to talk.
because they frightened them. They would put a gun to their head. They made them watch the terrible atrocities that happened on October 7th. Us as a world needs to demand the release of these hostages. I fear many of them are dead. We know that one, the youngest hostage, they killed with the mother, the 10-month-old little baby. So let's work together. Let's get them. We can't do this pussyfooting around either. To yell at Israel about what they're trying to do militarily is crazy. If that was in your neighborhood by your enemy, what would you do? During wartime, unfortunately, there's civilian casualties all the time. Israel goes out of their way to avoid it. But we know now Hamas puts Palestinians in the way of fire because they want them to get
And
killed.
that's all that
So they
Biden
can blame Israel.
and that's all that Biden and stinking Blinken talk about.
Yeah.
And what we're relying on to get our people back is Qatar.
Yeah. Cutter.
And Qatar is the refuge for the main billionaire leaders of Hamas. You think maybe they got a problem?
They are living in $multi-million homes in Qatar or Qatar, however
they
you want to
protect them.
pronounce it, and Qatar is protecting them.
So
I'm
Qatar
very
is giving
disappointed in you, Qatar.
Qatar
Seriously.
is giving shelter to mass murderers on the scale of, mini Hitlers.
I am calling on the CNNs of the world, the ABCs, NBC, Fox, every night, show pictures and tell the story of these hostages. I remember clearly when Americans were taken hostage in Iran. I saw it on the television every single night. And Ronald Reagan kept their spirit alive until they were free. And they were afraid of Ronald Reagan.
They were freed while Ronald Reagan was being inaugurated as
Yes.
president of the United
They
States.
were afraid of him.
Because they had Patsy Boy in the White House, like they have
Jimmy
now.
Carter.
Patsy Boy, Jimmy Carter. I'm sorry, Jimmy, but you were a Patsy Boy. And they got another Patsy Boy in the White House, and all of a sudden a man came in, and they said, "Whoa,
Yes.
I don't know. He may put a bomb on our head. He is. They all say he's crazy. They all say he's bomb crazy." And those hostages released, I think, during his taking the oath of office.
Yeah, I believe that is correct. Of course, you were a
was there.
friend.
I worked for him.
You were a friend of Ronald Reagan and Nancy
I
Reagan.
wasn't a friend. I worked for him. I was a friend of Nancy's.
I
got
did
to know
work
Nancy as a personal friend. President, it was too.
remote.
But I
or-
did write speeches for him, and I got to know him. And I can't tell you, there's probably no political figure I hero worship more than
Speeches for Ronald Reagan?
I did a couple. Yeah.
Every day, Ted, I learned something new about Mayor.
And not only
Julian.
that, I copied him. I mean, I didn't mind telling people, where'd you come up with that idea? I just copied Ronald Reagan.
I love your honesty.
I just copied him.
Not like Joe Biden. Huh?
Same attitude.
Yeah, not
No, I
plagiarism.
didn't. I wasn't an actor, and I didn't pretend to be an actor or head of the Screen Actors Guild. But I just felt the man. There was something extraordinarily special about
It
him.
sure was. The way he could cut through a situation too, and sometimes when appropriate, add humor to it. Like I'm going to add a little humor now about Joe Biden. Whatever you say, he's going to be a chameleon and adapt to it. If he was speaking to a Black community in the South, he, like Kamala, is going to have a Southern accent. He's going to tell you he grew up in a Black church and went to an all Black college. I think he claimed that at one time.
Yeah, nobody at the college.
When talking about the Hispanic vote, he claims he grew up in a Puerto Rican neighborhood.
4 Puerto Ricans in Delaware, maybe 5.
So this, you know what?
He just did it again a couple of
Way
days ago.
of life is being threatened every day. Please put your country men and women above politics. We shouldn't have that DIRL, whatever you subscribe as your party, as your beat all and end all. It just happens to be like I am attracted to a smaller government, laws against criminality, holding everybody accountable, a blind Justice Department.
Doctor, we can't let you go without New Hampshire.
Okay.
So what's
I was talking about New Hampshire.
What's going on in back in New Hampshire, and is that phony Haley gaining?
You know, she's doing really well. And she is. The people who are looking for an alternative, everywhere I go in New Hampshire, people loved Trump policies. Always felt they had a better quality of life when he was in office. But there was a lot of chaos around him. Not his fault. It was by a radical media and radical left fundamentalists, whatever they are.
Except they turned around New York.
Yeah.
There's going to be chaos if you do revolution. If you're going to be
That is
Nikki
true.
Haley and be a suck up to every new theory and idea, like you could tell last night, DeSantis beat the crap out of her. I mean, she was sucking up on every liberal rhino slogan you can possibly use. If you're going to do that and you're worried about the Washington press liking you, you sell out the country. And the reason Trump had chaos was America needed chaos. It needs it again. You think we're going to change this place without chaos?
Yeah, and Trump would need an army, right? I think he underestimated how deep the deep state was. I actually had my eyes opened, and we all have now, that the Department of Justice that we always thought was fair. Wow. They just go after parents who speak out against, men going in their daughters' bathrooms or wanting a better education because the kids don't know math or can't read. They're targeted by the Department of Justice. Catholics who go to Latin Mass are considered domestic terrorists. I mean, it gets a little ludicrous. And I thank you, the FBI whistleblowers who are coming forward, talking. You have a lot of guts.
I don't think people realize how much courage they have or what they go through. I realize it because I go through it. And I'm a pretty big boy, and I've been through a lot of things, and a lot older than them. They have their lives ahead of them, and it seems like their lives are ruined. It won't be.
Won't be.
They should realize this.
You are loved.
This country has a great powers of recuperation, and those people sometimes who were put that way, they're going to be the heroes of the future. They're going to be those whistleblowers are going to be among the heroes of the future. Believe me.
They already are the heroes of about 80 million people, including you, Mayor
Yeah, they're going to be
Giuliani.
the saviors of freedom and democracy.
That's right. So whistleblowers and the IRS, the two that have come forward, who had proof
There are plenty more.
that the government was hiding information about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. Thank you. That took bravery. We all need to do it. I implore you in the FBI, in the IRS, judges who have been threatened, come forward. Let's talk about it.
Yes.
I talk about the healthcare industry that I worked in for 30 years that I loved. What happened to them during the pandemic? They were anti-science. They started to belittle physicians who spoke out against the vaccine and the vaccine
That's
side
another
effects.
story you and I have
That's
to cover.
another story for
There-
another day.
There are certain things we can bring a lot to. Some things we can't. We don't know as much about other things. This is something that we could really hopefully get to the bottom of what's going on with science and medicine, which is a tragedy. Let me leave you with, before we take the break, Israel doesn't give two damns about Biden's cowardice. Israel intensified, this is Ronnie Reyes in the Post, Israel intensified airstrikes across central and southern Gaza on Wednesday, despite the Jewish state's pledge to scale back the war.
Why would they
Under
scale?
pressure from the Biden administration. Israeli defense forces took out Hamas bases in central Gaza while securing the regions around Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. They're banging them all over the place. They were also telling Hezbollah up north. I wish I had my map. You know, I need my map.
You
Without
love
my
your
I'm
maps.
lost. Up in northern Israel, Hezbollah, has been trying to bully them around. They are beating the shit out of them in northern Gaza. And Blinken and Biden are so worried that they may win because they're on the other side.
I don't get it. I don't get
I
it.
do.
I don't get it.
Anyone who takes that kind of money from China is not an American. We'll be back right after this break. We are very grateful to Dr. Maria for focusing on an issue that we have an obligation to stay on, and we will, particularly with her. When she gets on something, God bless her, and God bless you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Our device is something that you can plug into your television, and now you can use your television as a social television type experience. So in the Portal universe, you can watch your favorite content creators' videos, live streams, music. We also have TV subscriptions as well.
Subscriptions.
You can also
regular channels, all the sports.
Right, you can actually cut your cable from your cable subscription and get QUX TV on our QX TV boxes, and you can pay half the price that you're currently paying for your cable television subscription, and you can get all the best premium TV channels and more. I mean, it's really, there's so much on there, Rudy. I mean, you've seen it.
No, I've seen it and I use it, and it's good. I mean, it's just exactly the same except for half the price. Plus, nobody is finding out what I'm watching, and that's not being reported to anybody.
Right, so you have absolute privacy using this device, which you don't have on other devices out there currently on the market.
This is absolutely great. QUX.TV is how you can find out about it. QUX.TV.
Use promo code RUDY to receive $30 off.
Now, don't forget QUX.TV, promo code Rudy. Great organization. And like My Pillows, you'll be helping patriots. Now, why is that important? Because you're getting double use out of your money. In the case of My Pillows, you're getting the best products. You're getting the best sheets, the best pillows. I got them all over my house. In fact, I go around looking for anything that isn't My Pillows and I throw it out. Because first of all, they're really good. They're made in America. And every penny that I use for him, some of that money goes back to saving America and saving him. The man has put his neck in the guillotine for America. They cut him off. All the big woke organizations cut him off because he's a conservative. They loved his pillow. It was their best-selling pillow. So come on. Let's show that we know how to back our people. Go to mypillow.com. You're going to find plenty there. I'm telling you, just for me, by the slippers. Code. Oh yeah, code. Thank you, Dr. Maria. Code Rudy. What do you like best there, Dr. Maria? Sheets and towels. I like the sheets and towels too. So let's go now. This segment of the show is the top 5 stories that probably you're not going to get, or they're going to be ignored by the fascist censors that run most of the media in this country. Not the station we're at now, thank God, but a lot of them. Like, I don't think you're going to find out that the veterans are not being paid before the money goes out to the illegals, because they get paid from the same center. And the people leaking out of there who are outraged say that they are processing since Biden's been in office. They've been processing the money for the illegals before the veterans, who are sometimes delayed in payment. And there's a backlog of benefit claims from veterans. And he's not a traitor. America first. He makes fun of America first. He makes fun of Make America Great Again. God darn it. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Now, I don't know if you have any idea that this is going on, but in New York, in my city of New York, they have voted to allow non-citizens to vote. Now we're getting to the heart of why they're allowing this invasion, aren't we? Do we have that audio, Ted, on that? Do we have the audio on their not allowing or allowing people to vote? We don't. Well, I think I can dig it up for us. But and then
we don't have that one queued up yet, Mayor, but we're working on it.
Okay, well, take my word for it. The city council has voted to allow non-citizens to vote in New York. I think it was a little stupid because they're giving their strategy away. That's why they're bringing all the people in. Because
what number do you have? Which cut is it?
The party of slavery. The party of slavery. I think it's 23. The party of slavery can't exist any longer. Look, the Hispanics are turning on them. The blacks are falling away from Biden in droves. They haven't quite moved over yet, but that actually is the way it usually happens. When there's a long-term affiliation with a candidate or a party and you drop off, it's hard to move to the other side right away. You have it now?
Cardholders.
Play it.
Work permit. It will give some 800,000 non-citizens the right to vote in local elections. Under the new measure, green card holders and those with work permits would be able to vote for things like mayor or city council seats.
Now, the good news about that is the state Supreme Court has enjoined it, and it's really hard to see, even in a communist city and state like New York, that's crooked as hell. It's hard to see how they're going to square this one with the fact that the New York Constitution sets down the qualifications for voting. Now, I mean, this one, I think, would have everybody leave New York, right? The Constitution says that one of the qualifications for voting is that you're a citizen. And then New York City can say, but that's okay. You don't have to be. Now, that's the time to move out. Now you're not living in a government. You're living in a fascist country. And state. Now, not every state's like Florida's not like that. I mean, whether it's this governor, and I'm not for him for president, but he's been a hell of a governor, DeSantis, or it was Governor Scott before him. That's not going to happen here in a sensible state. They're not going to let non-citizens vote. I mean, how can you don't have a country if you let non-citizens vote. We have to have something in common to make a country. Being a citizen means you buy into what we have in common. Now, beyond that, to show you that this is for political purposes, they're doing the same thing with healthcare for all the people that come in. Adams has been offering it for 1.5 years or 2 years, and he wonders why he has ruined the city of New York. California just passed it for the whole damn state. I don't even know how much money it is. It's like 700,000 people are going to be covered. This is an invasion in so many different ways. The life and death part is the fentanyl that goes along with it, which means 100,000 people get killed. Think of it this way. China does the precursors. China makes $1 billion from it. China gets to kill 70 to 100,000 of us a year. And that beats going to war with us. If they tried to kill 70 to 100,000 of us a year in a war, we'd fight back. Right? And who knows? Maybe, we get rid of Biden, we get somebody that actually fight for us. But this way, they are killing us, and they're making a fortune doing it. And they're doing it with the cartels, and they're making them into a massive organization. And Biden is sitting there encouraging it. Yes, he's encouraging it. Here's how he's encouraging it. Abbott puts up wire to stop him from coming in. He's going to court to take the wire down. So more of the people who want to bring fentanyl in to kill us will get in. What is wrong with you who voted for him? What's wrong with you if you're thinking of voting for him? You want to destroy your country? Do you really hate us that much? Gosh. In my city, there is a very fine high school. Actually, the majority leader of the United States Senate graduated from this high school. It's called James Madison High School. I'm pretty sure Chuck Schumer graduated from it. It's about 5 miles from Floyd Bennett Field. Floyd Bennett Field is the place they put thousands of illegals, with everybody telling them they shouldn't because the place floods. But because we have a mayor who spends his time in nightclubs at night and pays no attention to being mayor, against everybody's advice, even I think there was an injunction from doing it. The city put thousands of them there. First thing they did is they started objecting, and the city started bringing them back to hotels so they could have room service. And the city couldn't do that anymore, and they began flooding the neighborhood. And they're spanning about 4 or 5 miles. They walk up, knock on the door. They say, "Can you give me a bed tonight? Can you give me food?" And they're frightening people. These are mostly men of military age. Who the hell? And we have no idea who they are because we don't vet them. Like the ones from China, we went down from 40 questions to 4. And tell me he isn't compromised by China. Who the hell would reduce the number of questions of the Chinese at a time like this? So they are terrorizing the neighborhood. And now there might be a flood there, just like they were warned about. And they take 2,000, they close James Madison High School. They tell the kids do remote learning. And we know now the damage that does, except Fauci, who denies that it does. They throw the kids out and they bring in 2,000, who knows how many criminals. They can't tell me they're not criminals because they don't know. They could be all not, and they could all be. And the kids are sitting at home with the parents going crazy. We another excuse. And by the way, the remote learning, some of the good teachers went with it. Another excuse for the Communist Teachers Union to get a little time off for the teachers who didn't bother to teach yesterday. Teaching is like a part-time job when you belong to the Communist Teachers Union. Sorry, I will do the obligatory. There are great teachers because there are great teachers. But if they continue to belong to the Communist Teachers Union, they're not American teachers anymore. I mean, they're teaching Marxism. Governor DeWine should be, is there a way to you can excommunicate Catholics, but can you excommunicate Republicans? The legislature of Ohio, which is Republican, passed a law to protect children from being mutilated before they turned 18, being mutilated without their parents even knowing about it. And they passed a law to stop men from participating in women's sports, to protect children. The governor vetoed it, a Republican governor. I know him. I've known him for years. I think I even campaigned for him. I wish I could take it back. I'd like to go out there and slap him around. Wouldn't be fair. He's a lot smaller than me. It's up to here. I'm going to think about that. You know, like The Godfather does to Johnny Fontaine, except Johnny Fontaine was a good guy. Well, thank God we got a veto-proof House of Representatives and Senate there. The House of Representatives has already overridden his veto. The Senate, God willing, will, because they need 20 votes to override the veto. They had 25 on the original bill. And I think they have some Democrats too. I mean, not all Democrats, hate children and believe that the state, like Marx did, should have control of the children. We do still have some American Democrats, but that should happen the next day or two. And I think we should have a big celebration for that, kicking that little slime around. And finally, New York has done. I spent with Bill Bratton particularly, and then my other police commissioners, I spent a lot of time working on the fare beaters, the people who don't pay their fares, because you have no idea how many really bad criminals you catch that way. They used to jump, in my day, in the 80s, they used to jump over the turnstile and nobody would arrest them. And then when we arrested them, we just let them go free. We wouldn't keep their records. What we found out when we stopped it, crime went down about 20% immediately on the subways. And half the people we were catching had warrants for violent crimes. They were serious criminals. Some of them were jerk-offs who just did it. Okay, we caught them once, we stopped them, they stopped doing it. But you can't believe the number of dangerous criminals we caught that way. Well, over the years, they have stopped doing it. De Blasio stopped it completely. Adams said he was going to reestablish it. He never really did. I mean, I think he falls asleep in the middle of these projects. And now they have put out and spent a lot of money on a new machine that is demonstrated on television and in the newspapers. You just have to do a little a little manipulation. You can walk right through without paying. They might as well just let everybody out for free. I mean, we're a city where we're going to have more people not working and minority of people working to support the people who are not working, which sounds like a communist city. So why do we spend all this money on this stupid thing where you can manipulate it like that? Well, we're going to take a short break so I can take my balance of nature. It will help to calm me down a little and make me strong. And we'll be right back.
Body is an amazing chemical laboratory. When you give it the right chemistry, it functions the best. Balance of Nature is the ultimate whole fruit and vegetable chemistry.
Get 35% off your first order by using discount code RUDY.
And the lover boy.
Yep, we're back.
Oh, we're back already. Oh my goodness. Well, I took my fruits and veggies. Here you go. Balanceofnature.com. Promo code Rudy, big discount, 30%. Come on. Go get it.
Be sure to use that promo code Rudy. And what a great way to start the year with some Balance of Nature. Be taking that every day. And you'll have the same energy that the mayor has. You're seeing them at 8 p.m.
So I had a revelation, as you know, and I passed it on, was it yesterday, to the president and others. And here's the revelation. I figured out what the Fannie case was all about. And I think this is right. And this is an allegation and a theory. So it's a theory. But it's supported by, I think, things from which you can draw the inference. The first grand jury they impaneled was always extremely suspicious because it couldn't indict anybody. Now, I don't know why you have a grand jury that can't indict. When you're going to have a grand jury to indict, you double the cost, correct? Okay. So they went through a whole investigation with this non-grand jury grand jury. That's the one that she appointed her lover to take over and paid him $600,000, which apparently she shared in because the $600,000, a lot of it was spent on three vacations, including a Napa, one to the Caribbean, and 2 luxury cruises. I count 5 vacations. I mean, they're like Biden, except they pay with your money. 600 grand to this completely incapable prosecutor who never handled a felony case, never handled a RICO case, added nothing to the people that were there already. I can be a witness. I was in the grand jury for 4 hours with him. I sat there saying to myself, I'd have failed him in litigation 101. I couldn't put a question together. And the grand jury was wacky. You remember the four lady. I'm pretty sure she gave me a kiss on my cheek. I had 3 or 4 requests for autographs, several for pictures. This was like when I go give, a speech somewhere. And the questions were obviously asked by a non-professional. Then at the end, a lover boy says to me, I didn't know he was a lover boy at the time. He says that the DA would like to meet with you. I said, well, I don't know. Let me talk to my lawyer. He said, no, it's just informal. She just she has a lot of respect for you. She just always wanted to meet you. She meets with me. She says small talk about what a great record I have, and we go. And my lawyer, Bob, who's a great lawyer and never wrong about anything, but I knew he was wrong about this one, said, hey, man, she may not indict you. I said, don't count it. I've read a background, political hack. There's a political job. But I had no idea that these two were shacking up. I mean, the way it works, apparently he got this 600 grand contract from her and he left his wife the next day. The wife says he spent all the usual money. So by the way, the guy was a partner in a law firm. So I don't know what his salary was or what he was making, but he wasn't exactly a pauper. I mean, he was a guy making, I'm sure, big money. So he was using that money as usual. And she didn't really. So what I'm saying is this money was like, you think we got a kickback here to Fanny with the lover boy? There's a kickback in the sense that he was taking her on vacation with the money they bilked out of the state. And they doubled the money that they could bilk out of the state by doing the unnecessary grand jury. That grand jury was completely unnecessary. They had to do it all over again in the second grand jury. Then Fanny files an indictment. After all this, after 600, 700 grand to Loverboy and who knows what else and going off on the vacation, they filed their RICO indictment, which is absurd. This is a ridiculous non-crime case about a man contesting an election and his lawyers fighting for him the way lawyers are supposed to do, getting indicted because these people are a bunch of political whores, including a lot of them. So she returns the indictment. She gives it to the clerk. Clerk starts to record it. They actually put it on the wire, I think. Everybody goes, there's an indictment. Gee, I hope Giuliani got indicted. Yeah. The press. Yeah. Not just Trump. They just keep indicting just Trump. They should indict that creep. God Almighty, he exposed Biden's criminality. He should go to jail. He put out the hard drive. Oh, wasn't that terrible? And he really was a Russian pawn. We don't believe that he was cleared, even though the New York Times said it. Somebody bothered to check, and they said, Fanny, hey, there's a problem here. Yeah, what's the problem with my indictment? The grand jury, sweetheart, the grand jury didn't vote. Huh? The grand jury didn't vote. Now, in a real city, or a real court system, that'd be the end of the indictment. You don't get to do it over. She goes back, and 5 hours later, she comes back with the same damn jerky piece of paper, this time voted on by the grand jury. Except it's the same illicit indictment she filed in the first place. Now, you don't think this case should be thrown out? Because there were more crimes committed putting the case together than alleged in the indictment, in which there are no crimes alleged. And to make it a RICO case, that's like the $150 million judgment against me. $150 million. They don't overdo it. It's like saying J6 was worse than Pearl Harbor. J6 was worse than September 11. J6 was worse than the Civil War. Look, this is a sickness. It's like cancer. And to me, it's like 4 or 5 books. The first one was Russian collusion fraud, paid for by a bunch of crooked Democrats, including who were involved in it, the President Prince Obama, Vice President Biden. Of course, Hillary put up the money. Who knows who helped her with the money? I got my suspicions. Brennan and the other liars who signed the phony documents about Russian earmarks when there was nothing Russian about it. And they didn't bother to investigate. They signed it in. Where can I sign to screw up Trump and help the demented guy get in? Maybe I'll be able to get an appointment. Maybe I'll be able to keep my security clearance and I'll be able to continue to make money. Who cares about the country? I'll make money. That's what we got going on here. It's the worst sellout of our country ever. Our brilliant founding fathers predicted it, that if we ever were going to go under, it'd be from within. This is completely from within. We can defeat China. I know we can. I can give you lots of strategies for defeating China, none of which are being followed by the guy paid off by China. We could beat China. China's not going to take us down. Not a communist country. In fact, they got more problems ahead of them than anybody realizes. You know what's going to take us down? The current, rotting from the top Democrat Party. It's a shame, really, because there were good people in the Democrat Party. Although maybe there's a curse on the Democratic Party for being the party of slavery. What do you think? 100 years of that? Causing a civil war over the cause of slavery. I know Haley doesn't know that because she really isn't a Republican. We conclude with Chris Christie telling you what you need to know about Haley if you actually are thinking of voting for her, because I have now concluded she'd be as big a danger to this country as a Democrat. I mean, what a horse's ass. Please play it. This is the one who doesn't know what caused the Civil War. That's too difficult to question. She can't name the provinces in Ukraine that she wants people to fight and die for. And she wants to use up our money and give it to a country that's the second most corrupt country in the world. And last night she's going after DeSantis as if he's some kind of traitor, for questioning how we use the money. I mean, why is she defending that flow of money? $130 billion to a country that steals by instinct. You're not helping the people of Ukraine by giving them money without accountability. You're hurting them, actually. You can help the people of Ukraine if you set up accountability for the money. So can we just play Christie's observation after having been in a race with her for a year?
Well, when you give land to China and places like that.
Yeah, that's what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, she spent $68 million so far, just on TV. Spent $68 million so far, $59 million by DeSantis, and we spent 12. I mean, who's punching above their weight and who's getting a return on their investment, And she's going to get smoked, and you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
She hasn't even been.
And she's still 20 points behind Trump in New Hampshire, right?
Yeah.
And, And he's still going to carry Iowa, right?
Yes. Oh, I talked to DeSantis called me, petrified that I would.
He's probably getting out after Iowa.
Well, you know why that is so important? There's no better evaluator of whether you're ready to be president than the people who run with you and against you, because you get to see the other side of them. I knew that Romney was a sellout the day I met him and campaigned for him, and he was afraid to go shake hands with people. And I had to go take him and say, well, we shake hands with people in politics.
Yeah.
I knew immediately there's something weird about the guy. And McCain agreed with me, and Huckabee agreed with me. And that's what she saw in Haley. And that's what Ramaswamy saw, which is the reason he went after her so hard. And just you can see DeSantis sees it too. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt that Trump should be the president. I also think there's no doubt that she shouldn't. So people in New Hampshire, stop her from trying to steal the Republican nomination with Democratic votes. I mean, that's a skunk that does that. Thank you. And we will be back with you tomorrow. God bless America. Our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able